So all of you now can unmute yourself, but video will remain on. Mute कर लो अपने आप नो, otherwise I'm going to mute to all of you. So today we are going to discuss a very important topic, and after listening to this lecture, you have to prepare an assignment on this topic also. Whatever I am going to discuss with you, that you have to listen it again and again, because this recording will be available uh, after the lecture, after 2 hours of this lecture on YouTube channel. So you have to listen it again and again and prepare an assignment on conceptual framework of accounting, which includes so many things which I will be discussing with all of you. But one thing I would like to make it clear, that you have to submit this assignment online on the group by Sunday evening 5 p.m. So I'm going to share with you on WhatsApp group the guidelines to prepare the assignment that has to be prepared thoroughly. So this is going to affect your internal evaluation for internal assessment purposes. So therefore, prepare it very carefully, because now onwards, as I have already told you, that we have to be very hectic and we have to work hard. Daily, it is required that you must spend 2 to 3 hours on one subject. So reserve 7 8 hours for sleep, and after that you have to work 7 8 hours for every subject. So today the topic which I am going to discuss is conceptual framework of accounting. In the last lecture, we have discussed about the introduction to financial reporting standards. And in that lecture also, we defined that earlier we were using the generally accepted accounting principles. They are still in use, but wherever the accounting standards has been put up, such accounting standards will also be applicable, and you have to apply these standards while preparing your financial statements. And the IFRS, the International Accounting Standard Board, has also issued a one kind of conceptual framework for financial reporting, which is applicable in the IFRS also. And this conceptual framework, along with the generally accepted accounting principle, basically this conceptual framework clarify the generally accepted accounting principle, which is shortly named as GAAP, GAAP. So the basic purpose of conceptual frame, when we talk about the conceptual framework of accounting, it means we have to define the objectives of the financial reporting and accounting. We must define what kind of qualitative characteristics of useful financial information should be there in the financial accounts. Thirdly, we have to define a description of reporting entity and its boundary. We have to define the various assets, liabilities, equity, income, and expenses. And we have to define the criteria for including assets and liabilities in the financial statements. That means their recognition and disclosure. And we have to also define the measurement basis and guidance on when to use them. So this conceptual framework of accounting is going to cover so many things. So you may note what kind of things are going to be covered. Number one, objectives of the financial statements. Number two, qualitative characteristics of useful financial information. Number three, the elements of financial statements, and as well as we will be covering so many other things. For example, we will be covering the basic assumptions which are used for financial reporting, the basic principles which are used for preparing the financial statements, and what are the modifying principles which are used in the financial statement. So as far as this conceptual framework of accounting is concerned, which is clearly defined and clarified as generally accepted accounting principles. So we have to define first the generally accepted accounting principles. Basically, generally accepted accounting principles are those a widely accepted set of rules, conventions, standards, and procedures for reporting financial information as established by the International Accounting Standard Boards. They are called generally accepted accounting principles in the form of conceptual framework of financial reporting. And these generally accepted accounting principles, which are recognized by IFRS now, these are the common set of accounting principles, standards, and procedures that companies must use to comply with their financial statements. So basically, generally accepted accounting principles are a combination of standards. That means set up by the policy boards like International Accounting Standard Board or the respective boards of accounting standard boards of different countries, and also simply the commonly accepted way of recording and reporting accounting information. It includes both the standards as well as the set of principles and conventions which we are using from long period of time to prepare the financial statements. So when we talk generally accepted accounting principles, it will cover accounting concepts and conventions. It will cover basic assumptions. It will cover basic principles. It will also cover modifying principles. So if I define generally accepted accounting principle, I can categorize them into three segments. First segment is basic assumptions. Second segment is basic principles on the basis of which we prepare the financial statements. And the third, which is commonly used, is modifying principles. So let me talk first about the basic assumption. This is also called the theory base of accounting, which we are using for preparing the financial statements and reporting to the stakeholders. So first we talk about the basic assumptions. So as far as basic assumptions are concerned, you have already studied at the +1, +2 level and also at the BCom 1 level. But here there is a need to prepare and study from the broader perspective point of view because you are a postgraduate class. And your task here is to interpret the financial statements. Whatever we will discuss in the future, you will be involved in the analysis and interpretation of the financial statements. If you are fully equipped with the concepts of financial statements or concepts of preparing the financial accounts and also familiar with the theory base of accounting, you will be easily able to understand and analyze the financial statement. So therefore, first we will be talking about basic principles, basic assumptions. Basic assumptions are five in nature. First, these are concerned basic principles. Number two, going concern concept. Number three, money measurement concept. Number four, accounting period concept. And number five, basically, these are the accrual concept. So in basic principles or basic, first we will be discussing about. So it is presumed while preparing the account. First is business entity concept. That means while preparing the financial statements, we will presume that the business entity and the person who is owning the business, that is a businessman, it may be individual, it may be company. These are the two different entities. So we will not presume that business and businessman are same persons. So this concept explains that business is distinct from proprietor. Thus, the transactions of the business are only recorded in the books of the accounts. If owner personally gives something to the business as a capital, that is known as proprietor's capital. If he took a loan from the business, then it is loan. It is treated as a business loan. If he withdraw from the business, that is considered as drawing. If he takes the goods for personal use, that is also taken as drawing. So business financial transactions are recorded separately for businessman and business entity. So they are not going to mixed. Secondly, going concern concept. It will be presumed while preparing the financial statements that business and businessman are two different persons, that is business entity concept, but it will also be presumed that business has a perpetual cessation or continuous existence. Even if the business person dies, business will continue. Business is not going to wind up in the next year. It is not presumed that this is for 2 years only. It will be considered as a going concern. If we do not follow this concept, then all the things, all assets which we prepare, which we purchase for the use in the business, they will be considered as expenditure. But if we consider that this is a going concern concept, and this asset is going to be give benefit to the business for 10 years, then it will be treated as fixed asset. So therefore, we will presume that the business is going to continue for indefinite period of time. It is not going to wind up. Thirdly, there is a money measurement concept. According to this concept, only transactions which are expressed in monetary terms are to be recorded in the books of accounts. So it means the non-monetary transactions will not be recorded in the books of accounts, though as per the international financial reporting standards. Now, non-monetary transactions or non-monetary disclosures can be made in the notes to the accounts or in a disclosure practices which are followed as per the requirements of the IFRS. Similarly, there is a concept of accounting period concept. Now, businesses are living continuous organisms. Splitting of the continuous stream of the business events into time period is thus somewhat arbitrary. So therefore, we have to follow a significant period for which the accounts are prepared. For example, you may prepare the accounts for on calendar basis from 1st January to 31st December. But as per the requirements of the law, for example, from the income tax point of view, you have to file the return from 1st April to the 31st March. So that means that period for which accounting books are opened and then closed are known as accounting period. So when we prepare the books of accounts, we will follow that a particular accounting period is followed and there is no significant change just because one accounting period ends and the new accounting period becomes. So this results into the most difficult problem of accounting of how to measure the net income for an accounting period. One has to be very careful while recording the revenue and expenses for a particular accounting period. So therefore, it is very important that we must prepare the books of accounts as per the some accounting period which is predetermined, and usually we have the financial year. Then there is a concept of accrual concept. So there are two system of accounting. One is cash system of accounting and another is a uh, accrual system of accounting. So in accounting, we will presume that we will follow the accrual system of accounting. So in case of cash system transactions, like owner's equity instantly affected cash, either it is received or paid. In credit transaction, however, a more obligation towards or by the business is created. So therefore, whenever a transaction is happened, we will record that into books of accounts whether cash is received or no. So when credit transaction exists, revenues are not same as cash receipts and expenses are not same as cash paid during the period. So therefore, we will be following the accrual system of accounting. So whenever transaction happen, whether cash is received or not, we will record that kind of transaction in the books of accounts. So if your buyers has not paid you the money, they will be treated as our debtors, and if you have purchased something from others and you have not paid the money, then they will be treated as creditors. So these are the basic assumptions which we will be following while preparing the accounts. Next, we have the basic principles. So there are basically 8 basic principles which we will be following for preparing the financial statement. One is revenue realization concept, you may note down. Number 2 is matching concept. Third is full disclosure concept. Fourth is dual aspect concept. Fifth is verifiable objective evidence concept. And next is historical cost concept. And last is balance sheet equation concept, which is now known as accounting equation concept also. So basically, there are 8 basic principles which we use for preparing the financial statement. That is revenue realization, matching concept, full disclosure, dual aspect, verifiable objective evidence concept, historical cost concept, and balance sheet equation uh, methodology. So first we will be talking about realization concept. This concept speaks about the recording of those transactions only which are actually realized. For example, when sale actually happened or profit actually realized, that will be taken into account when money is realized. Either cash is received or legal ownership is transferred. For example, when you sell some goods but money is not received, it will be treated as realized, because otherwise, if you have not received the money, it will be taken as debtors, and but the profit will be taken as realized. Similarly, there is a matching concept. It is referred to as a matching of expenses against income. So, in the accounting year which we have prescribed, we will match the expenses with the incomes and find out what kind of results is there in the form of profits and loss. Next concept is full disclosure concept. So as per this concept, all significant information must be disclosed. So now what is significant, that will depend upon the circumstances of the each case. So accounting data should be properly clarified, summarized, aggregated, and explained for the purpose of presenting the financial statement, which are useful for users of the accounting information. So practically, this principle emphasizes on the materiality. That means whatever is disclosed, that is material. There is objectivity, and there is a consistency of the accounting data, and which should disclose the true and fair view of the state of affairs. Next is duality concept. Duality means every transaction which happen in the business has twofold aspect: the benefit of receiving aspect and benefit of giving aspect. So similarly, if I speak from the accounting terminology point of view, so it means that every transaction will affect at least two accounts. For example, when you purchase goods in cash, so there is one purchases account is debited, and cash account is credited. Similarly, when you goods purchase on credit, on the one hand we debit the purchases account and credit the person from whom the goods has been purchased. So every transaction has dual aspect, so it will affect the two accounts in every way. So thirdly, next is verifiable objective concepts. So under this principle, accounting data must be verified. So in other words, documentary evidence of transaction must be made which are capable of verification by the independent respects. So in the absence of such verification, that data will be available neither be reliable or not dependable. So everything which you record in the books of account, that must be verifiable from one kind of or another kind of voucher. So there should not be any biased data. So verifiability and objectivity express the dependability, reliability, and trustworthiness that are very useful for the purpose of displaying the accounting data and information for the user. Another principle is historical cost concept. So business transactions are always recorded at actual cost at which they are actually undertaken. But when we use the international financial reporting standards, there is a deviation from historical cost concept. Though when we purchase an item, if we purchase some fixed assets or some inventory, we will be recording at that time at cost. But as far as the IFRSs are concerned, they say that every year all the liabilities and assets should be converted on the fair value. So this is a departure from the historical cost concept. So, but initially we'll be recording that transaction at the historical cost basis. So business transactions are always recorded at actual cost at which they are actually undertaken. Basic advantage is that it avoids any kind of arbitrary value being attached to the transaction. So whenever an asset is bought, it is recorded at the actual cost, and the same is used for the basis of subsequent accounting purposes, such as charging the depreciation on the use of assets. So if a production equipment is bought for 150 crores, the asset will be shown at that value, and depreciation will be charged on that value. But there is a limitation of this concept also, because balance sheet does not show the market value of the assets owned by the business, and accordingly the owners will not reflect the real value. Owners equity will not be reflected as the real value. So therefore it is very important that IFRS should have some kind of standards on that, and that's why there is a standard of fair value accounting. So in IFRS, we use the fair value accounting, and every year we reevaluate the assets on the basis of certain defined parameters, which are foolproof. So if you are using the concept of fair value on the defined parameters as far as the IFRS are concerned, then the fair value will also be considered as relevant. Then next concept is balance sheet equation concept. This is also called accounting equation concept. So under this principle, all which has been received by us must be equal to that has been given by us. And needless to say that receipts are classified as debits and giving is classified as credit. So the basic equation is the debit is equal to credit, and naturally every debit must have a corresponding credit and vice versa. So we can write the above in the form of like this. For example, expenses plus losses plus assets is equal to revenue plus gains plus liability. So these are the basic principles which we use for financial state while preparing the financial statement. So there are certain modifying principles also which we use. Number one is materiality concept. As far as this concept is concerned, it says that whenever any transaction happen, if even of a small value, if it is material, if it is going to have a major impact on the financial statements and its results, we must disclose that. That is material, that is important. There must be consistency in the accounting system. It should not be there that every year we change the accounting policy. Every year we change the accounting year. Every year we change the various methodologies for presentation of the financial statement. Otherwise, there will be no kind of any comparability. So then there is a concept of conservatism. That means if there is a possibility of having the loss, you must account for that. If there is a possibility of having the profit, you must not record unless it is realized. Similarly, there is a timeliness concept that financial statement should be available on time. It should not be delayed. And next and last is the industry practice concept. Industry practice concept means the practices which are followed, accounting policies which are followed by the other organizations which are prescribed by the accounting bodies must be used for preparing the financial statement. So these are the basic assumptions, or we can say these are the basic structure or premise on the basis of which financial statements are prepared. And we are using these concepts, conventions, principles, or the conceptual framework from years, and this is a outcome of the long traditions which for which the businesses are conducted. So now let's come to the International Financial Reporting Standard. When we start this lecture, we say that there is one conceptual framework of accounting which is suggested by the IFRS also. That means International Accounting Standard Board. So they focus basically on number one, what are the objectives of the financial statements. They have first of all defined that for what purposes the financial statements are prepared, and secondly they have talked about the qualitative characteristics of useful financial information. So as far as the qualitative characteristics of financial information is concerned, the IASB has prescribed two kind of fundamental qualitative characteristics which must be present in the financial statement. Number one is relevance. When I say relevance, that means an information is considered to be relevant if it is capable of making a difference to the decisions made by the user. So when they use this financial information which is provided by the financial statements, if they are going to affect the decision to be taken by the users of the accounting, that means they are relevant. And secondly, financial information which is provided in the financial statements is capable of making a difference in decisions if it has a predictive value or the confirmatory value. Predictive means if predictions are there, that is also verifiable, and it has some confirmation from the vouchers. This is one thing. That means whatever the financial information is provided in the financial statement, that must be relevant. Second useful characteristics which is prescribed under International Accounting Standard Board conceptual framework, that is faithfulness representation. So an information must be faithfully represent the substance of what it purports to represent. There should not be any kind of biasness. A faithful representation is to the maximum extent possible, complete and neutral and free from any error. There should not be any error, there should not be any biasness, it should be neutral. So thirdly, a faithful representation is affected by level of measurement uncertainty. So these are the two financial fundamental qualitative characteristics that must be present in the financial statements. Now, in order to enhance it, what we can do? You can enhance the qualitative characteristics of the useful information by doing four things. Number one, you should make it comparable. That means corresponding figures to the last year should be available. You must follow some standards so that you can compare your accounts with the accounts of the other bodies. It should be verifiable. For every transaction which is recorded in the financial statement, you must be having a verifiable voucher. Timeliness, the information should not be delayed, and understandability. It must be clear from the financial statement. If some ambiguity is there, that should be disclosed in the notes to the accounts. So all these things are covered under the qualitative characteristics of financial statements. So while preparing the financial statements, you must consider not only the conceptual framework as per the generally accepted accounting principle, but also consider the conceptual framework which is prepared by the International Accounting Standard Board to enhance the verifiability of the information and enhance the information which is useful for the users of the stakeholders. So this is the some view of the conceptual framework of accounting which I have given you in brief during this concept of accounting. So therefore, I hope you must be preparing this statement when you this assignment is prepared. So all these concepts which I have covered, you now have to prepare the assignment in detail. So I will be sending you detailed guidelines for preparing the financial this kind of assignments, and you follow the path which has been suggested. So it should not be like preparing the assignment as you prepare in the BCom level. So you must follow the guidelines for that. This is one thing. Secondly, very important information which I am going to discuss with you, that today we are going to have a very important seminar for the youth of Punjab. So what we can do after your post graduation, what kind of government schemes are available. So with the help of Punjab State Youth Development Board, we are organizing this 1 hour or 15-minute seminar, which will you will be joining at 11:30. So if you have any class at the time of 11:30, you may leave that class. Immediately you have to join this new seminar class on the same link which you are using. The link which you are using present, on the same link you must join at 11:30. So it will be starting at exactly 11:35 or 11:40 on the basis of the availability of our experts. So then we will be moving towards that seminar. So this is going to be very beneficial and useful for all of you. So it is not that only you have to study the concepts which are in the syllabi, but we have to prepare for the life also. So therefore, you must be ready for that also. So I'm just going to, after a few hours, this recording will be available on the YouTube channel. So you can join, you can listen again and again this lecture, find out every detail which has been discussed by me, note down the concepts, and then after that start preparing this assignment. So I'm going to give you the time till Monday evening. So you can submit till Monday evening by 5 p.m. So after that, there will be no acceptance of the assignment. It will affect you performance in the examination. So this is all today. So now MCOM BI students, first semester students can leave the class because other has to join in the next class.